Hey Google, restart video.
Hey everyone, Scott Innes, voice actor, Hollywood actor, movie star. Don't believe all that. I'm a legend in my own mind. Hey, you know me better as the voice of some of the most popular cartoon characters in the world. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, Scrappy-Dappy-Doo, Puppy Tower, Black and Shaggy Doo. And you've got the Sullivan Project podcast coming at you right now.
Hey Google, stop. Hey Google, change your volume to 50%. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Sullivan Project podcast. I'm your host, Harold Sullivan. Hey Google, change your volume to 50%. See, I knew it. Hey Google, stop. They don't listen to these things. Hey Google, what time is it?
It's 1:57 p.m.
Okay, that's how I've been able to tell time the last few years. If y'all haven't tuned in before, I lost my sight almost 3 years ago due to a bunch of illnesses and my disabilities. And I was born with an autoimmune disease. I just turned 45 in December. Wasn't supposed to make it very long. So, by the grace of God or whoever you want to believe in or just whatever, I've been making it. And we all have a story. You can't judge a book by its cover. Everyone has a story. And that's what we're here for on this podcast. If you want to check out previous episodes, Harold Sullivan 78 on TikTok, Harold Sullivan 78 on YouTube, Harold Sullivan period 35 Facebook. You can call the show 724-513-1472 if you want to be on or just have something to say. Love and light is what we're all about. Audio or video, you can do. We can do guests. If you just got to get something out because you never know, you might not get it that other second. You know what I mean? People don't realize how short things are. Every moment is short. You realize that when they're having a good time, how it flies. But every moment is so short, and there's so many decisions that can be made in that one blink. And just get things out if you need to. Don't carry things with you. I'm all about healing here, helping people, no judgment. And you can email hs19782015 at outlook.com. And we're going to talk more about Steel City Con, and we had a couple of guests last episode, so go check out old episodes. We appreciate it again. Comments, shares, likes, rates, just whatever you can do to help promote it. And we love everyone here, no judgment. But we're going to talk more about that. Chris is coming up. And then I got a couple other things I want to share before that. Not feeling too good again. This is just because a couple of days ago, my newest fiasco, Grubhub again, okay? $53 for a medium meat lovers and 6 wings, okay? That wouldn't be so bad. I mean, I'll do that once in a while, right? But 2 hours later, it wasn't here yet. And we had called a couple times. I actually got Grubhub, and they said the first person just didn't show up, I guess. Somebody else was bringing it. So I did get it like 2 hours later. But I was like, and then they said, well, we'll give you a $10 perk off your next order. Oh my gosh. I almost wanted to just like say keep it because I knew it was going to be nasty. And I didn't want to wait to reheat it in the air fryer because that would have been another 20 minutes. I was like freaking, famished by the time I got the food. So I ate it microwaved, and it was just nothing but grease and all the meat and then the wings on the side. And yesterday I couldn't eat. I ate in the morning once, and I was puking all day after eating that stuff 2 days in a row. And I slept all day yesterday, and today I got a little bit more energy, but I can't do stuff like that. You know what I mean? I have sensitivities towards stuff anyway, let alone, like, how can they do that stuff? Last time I ordered from that place, it was like an hour and something late, and they just canceled it somehow online and sent me a cancellation. And then I had to ask somebody to make me dinner, because this is my dinner when I order from this Grubhub or whatever. But yeah, watch out, man. You gotta watch. You can't eat foods that's sitting in the box over an hour or something over in wherever under it is, and then microwaving it. If you got sensitivities, that's just gross. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
The last thing thing I remember.
Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
My last memory?
Hey
I was
Google,
chatting with you.
what did I want you to remember?
I seem to remember you asking me a question.
It's being goofy. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
The last thing I remember?
Hey Google, stop it. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember? Now don't want to tell me my notes. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
My last memory?
No.
I was chatting with you, and it was
Hey
great.
Google, what's my name?
Sure, to help you with that, I need your permission to allow assistance.
Hey Google, stop. Wow, somehow it's messing up now and I don't know who I am. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
Sure, to help you with that, I need your permission to
2:02
allow assistance
p.m.
to results on
Swipe
your
up to unlock.
You can change this in assistance.
Hey Google, stop. Now it somehow forgot who I was. And I forgot my messages. Oh my god. See, I've been having a technology problem for a month or two and I want to go complain about it again. Hey Google, what is my name?
Sure, to help you
See,
with
now I
that,
don't know
need
my
your
name.
permission
Hey
to
Google, what did I want you to remember about Steel City?
I don't know, but I found these
See?
results on search.
Well, okay, now I gotta try to remember my messages here. Because it's got something wrong with my notes here. Jesus. Oh Lord, what happened there? I'll try to figure that out in a second. Okay, anyways, let's get on to this. See, so I went to Steel City Con. Yeah, I got to go. It was a nice day, 70 degrees. We got to stop and get some KFC. I kind of wanted to go to right, but next across from it was Popeyes. I'd already been there once, but my brother-in-law didn't want to go in because he didn't know how to get out of the parking lot. It's like easy to revolve, but you know. So and anyway, yeah, that stuff isn't even real. I mean, I hadn't eaten it for years, KFC, but again, it's not real chicken. I could tell by just eating it. I mean, I was hungry when we got back. 4.5 hours we were there at the convention. Well, we left at 1 or noon and got back at about 4:30. And yeah, right outside there was a guy who had an extra ticket. He gave it to me, so I didn't have to pay to get in. Just my brother-in-law and my sister had to pay. God bless them. And then inside they gave me a band so I could get ahead of the lines. John Carpenter was only going to be there for a little bit, so I got there just in time to speak to him. And he said he doesn't believe in the paranormal. He said he does not. Well, you'll hear about this later on with Chris uh, and the answers. But I talked to him. I talked to Ernie Hudson again. Heather Graham got their interviews on previous episodes. Go check those out. Uh, I talked to Ian Ziering from 90210 and Sharknado. He said he was afraid of sharks for a while because of Jaws. And I told him the same thing with me. I said, I think I died in a past life in the water or I drowned or something. And then I always had this fear of Jaws. I talked to Anthony Michael Thomas about him being in the one Batman movie. Of course, he's Weird Science and all them other 80s movies. Or Anthony Michael Hall, not Anthony Michael Thomas. Anthony Michael Hall. And then I talked to let's see here, Booker T, the wrestler. He was awesome, Christian. He just was. He didn't even want to talk to anybody. He just waved up at us like. And Sting said he was going to send a video because Darby didn't do my cameo that I asked him to do a while back, and we still haven't got that. It's almost been a week when I'm recording this. We'll see though. And Darby was walking around, so I couldn't even get to talk to him. He wasn't even paying attention or at his booth. Susan Sarandon, I talked to her. She was lovely. A couple people wouldn't even talk to me, wouldn't even talk to you unless you paid them. It's like I didn't want autographs and stuff. I just wanted to talk to people, maybe get an interview, which I did. And like I said, go check out previous episodes for that. But yeah, we got we got those on there. Sorry, I'm trying to this Google thing now. Jesus, how's it detach me? They're like I say when they come in. Uh, who was it? Oh, Christina Ricci didn't show up. She was supposed to be there, but who was it? Gina Davis wouldn't talk to me, and neither would Shannon Doherty, unless you were we paid. They said we weren't doing meet and greets, whatever that is. So, but Ernie Hudson, I went up and spoke to him. He remembered doing a cameo for me, and he did a little interview. So yeah, go check that out. And Heather Graham and Juliette Lewis from Dusk Till Dawn, Strange Days, Natural Born Killer. She was there. Her and Heather Graham were just like young energy. Just it was almost overwhelming too being there because that was thousands of people literally inside and outside. And when I was young, I went to a couple of baseball games at the Pirates Stadium. That was probably the most people I'd ever been around. And then losing your sight, and then just I could feel everybody, but then I could feel individual people. And then yeah, most of these actors and actresses seemed like they were pretty cool, not really on drugs or lying or anything, because I can sense things now with my psychic stuff. So they all seemed like, but other than what I was saying. So other stuff has happened lately. I've been doing some more remote viewing or whatever. This morning I had a session where I could see my ex caregiver from years ago and a couple kids and the guy she was with. So it's either I'm seeing what's going on or just I don't know. It's like I'm looking in on them kind of a few times. It's happened, and this was like 6, 7, 8 years ago, going back to when she worked for me. But I've been for some reason been having these things. And then earlier, Papa Smurf, this is what I used to call a friend of mine. We used to smoke, him and I and a few others down the street here years ago. We smoked blunts. And I called him that because he used to wear a tassel cap and he had a white beard. He was an older black gentleman. And then I had a dream about him where this morning he came to me because he passed away years ago. And he said, Papa Smurf. And because I almost didn't recognize him. He was so young again. When people die and they become young again sometimes. But it was him. And God bless him. He came by. And then I also heard Rest in Peace. This was another dream or whatever this morning. And then there was a book, somebody reading a book saying, Slice, you're going to get, don't do this or you're going to get hurt. And then they got hurt. Oh my, a few other things here I've been having the last few days. It's just, it's like remote sessions where I've been having them things where I'm not really going to sleep, but it's in the middle of the night. I'll just hear conversations or I'll hear, oh, I heard, who is this a couple of days ago? Clear as day at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock a.m. in here. I'm laying in bed and a female voice said, who is this? And I was like out loud, I was like, huh? Who is this? And I was thinking, what the? Like, it wasn't one of my devices. It was, who is this? And that's happened before. It's almost like trying to reach a channel or there's, I don't know, I'm picking up something, but this was right in here. When I'm hearing these conversations, that's like from somewhere else. This was right in the room, so I can pick up all these things. This is nuts here. But yeah, I want to mention that, and I want to mention deep dreams. What else here? Lord Jesus. Hey Google, what did I want you to remember?
I seem to remember you asking me a question.
See, it's not remember my freaking messages now. That's not good because I got lyrics in there. Well, we'll see what happens. Everything happens for a reason. Everything is always for something. That's one of the first Sullyisms that I wrote. So we talked about Still City Car. We talked about the dreams and that. I'm trying to go over my head, y'all. And then we're going to go over to Chris. Here's talking to Chris. Let's see here. Anything about. Oh, boy. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think that's pretty much about it. But I'll put it on the next episode, right? So love is a choice and so is the hate. And we probably will repeat that when Chris comes back. But that's so important. You don't have to like, but you should always love something. Fight fire with water, come into the situation with hugs and kisses. You know, and you get what you put out. If you're that pink droplet, you'll get the love. I love y'all. I'm trying to remember if there was anything else I wanted before I go here. We got the conventions, and we got my buddy coming through, and I think that's about it. Got some new songs that should be putting up on the thingies too, so check those out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I thought it did, man, or late last night, I don't know, but it's just yucky, But yeah, we're both hanging in there. How's your diabetes and all that? You had some appointments, everything check out?
Yeah, everything's good.
It's just up and down, huh? You gotta.
Up and down. Yeah.
take something when it's up, take something when it's down. Jeez, that's just. Like I tell people, if you don't have to do something, don't do it. You know what I mean? You have to because that's a medical thing. But if anybody can, if you ever can not do drugs, don't do drugs. I don't care what it is, even if it's just marijuana. You know what I mean? Because I can't go back. I mean, I got a medical thing and all that. Okay, but still, I can't go. If I could go back 20 something years ago and be like, you know what? Don't ever try it, right? But I don't know what it would be like if I hadn't either. So you never know. You just gotta feel that you're right in the spot that you should be. You know, but I would tell people, don't, if you don't have to do anything, don't do it. Don't even try it because then you might be on it one day and be like, wait a minute, what would my life be if I never tried this, right? And you might be saying you're doing it for the right things, but uh, getting high is trying to escape life, right? And if you want to escape life, that's death. So, I mean, you want to be alive, you got to feel it all, good, bad, whatever. And of course, I'm telling people that, and I'm trying, but I got to do my best to live that as well. You know what I mean? You got to practice what you preach. But yeah, I used to freaking have. I was prescribed oxycontins and all that, and I used to drink it and all. So yeah, I'm down to just. I got the medical marijuana card, and I go buy my cartridges. You know what I mean? Every couple of weeks. So that's where I'm at. But as far as other medicine, I don't take anything. Nothing for any kind of blood pressures. Nothing for this or that or anything else. And they want to give me pills for everything. Last time, whenever I went in my early 30s, right, I was peeing like 10 times a day. And still sometimes that happens. I kid you not. I got to go 5 times at night, 5 times during the day. I don't have enough time to piss 10 times. Jesus. And you know
Yeah.
what they told me? I got overactive nerves. We can give you a pill for that. I'm not lying. I laughed. I said, you know what? If I got to pee, I'm going to pee. You know, I'm going to go home. And I said, if I got to pee, I'm going to give. What do you mean you're going to give me a pill for that? What's the pill going to do? Stop me from peeing? Like, this is silly. So I just like with anxiety, they had me Xanax, and I tried them for a while. Sometimes that stuff was so scary that I thought I was going to die. Sometimes it didn't work enough. So after a while, the Xanax, I learned to just deal with it. It is in your head, anxiety. It's very hard to overcome, though. You just gotta you gotta breathe. That's what I learned a lot. Take a breath in and breathe out slow, because you gotta lower your heart rate when you have panic. When you have panic, it's like you feel like you're having a heart attack and your heart's gonna explode. Yeah, one time I had one, and I kid you not, when I was having them real bad, I was going down to the restaurant in Ambridge, K&N. I think you probably heard of that, right? K&N.
Yeah, I heard of that.
Yeah, it was only a couple blocks away, right?
Yeah.
But by the time I got from my apartment to there, I thought I was going to have a heart attack because just going out.
That was a panic attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just going out, your heart starts to race because you're moving. But normally that don't, you know what I mean? You shouldn't get excited that bad. But I was trying to grab one of them pills out, right? And I had to stick it on my fork or whatever to get it in my mouth because I couldn't reach my mouth with my hands. My elbows don't bend anymore. So I dropped a pill on my lap, and there was a guy and his wife, or like there was a couple sitting there, and I couldn't even talk. That's how bad I was. Like I'm looking around, and the dude saw the pill, and he actually picked it up and put it in my mouth for me, and he might have saved my life that day. Thank God for that guy that day. See, I forgot about that. I've been close to death 30 something times, and that's another one you could say. But after about 5 minutes, I was okay. But Jesus, they called the ambulance and everything. Uh, but they weren't going to take me because what would they do? They'd take me to the hospital, have me there all night, and let me go the next day and say, you're okay, you're just a little anxious. Because I did that 8 times in 10 days. I thought I was having a heart attack. And that's why on the 10th time I was like, okay, give me something. So they started giving me Xanax. But you don't want to live that way. So I was like, you know what, I don't want to be taking Xanax the rest of my life. I don't want to be like, I can't move around without feel like I'm having a heart attack. Literally, I couldn't do anything but sit still. I didn't sleep for days because my heart wouldn't calm down. That's when I first got diagnosed with it. So I was like, oh my God. That was in my early 30s. Then I got sleep apnea. I got diagnosed with that at the same time. And then overactive nerves, peeing 10 times a day. It's like something all hit me around the same, like, for 5 years, you know? Like, it's weird. They say every 7 years that you get a new body or something like that. Did you ever hear that? Like your cells reproduce? So think about
No.
that. So if you think about your life, you have periods probably, right? Uh, if you think about it, you probably had so many, like every 5 or 10 years, your life was a little different. Like maybe you had 7 years or 10 years, you thought it was get better, and then you look back to 10 years after that were a little tougher, right? And I look back and I thought that it's actually true. You have patches, and it's like every so many years your life is a little different. They say that it's like every 7 years your life changes a little, so things come out different. But yeah, I did get to go to Still City Con. We talked about that a little bit, so I'm going to give you a little bit more information on that here for the podcast. I'm still waiting on Sting to send me a video. I don't know if him and Darby will, but they said they would, so we'll see. Or Sting said he would, you know what I mean? It's on him now, because when I sent Darby the request, he didn't reply back a few months ago. Well, he didn't even send me one, so that's on him. But now Sting said, "Hey, I'll get Darby, and we'll send you something." And he got my contact information, so he could just send a video right on the phone, and then I can upload it. So we'll see. But if he doesn't do it within a few weeks, then he ain't gonna remember. But he was cool though, Sting. And then let's talk about a couple other weird things, and then I'm going to tell you about that. Okay, remember how I told you about the weed sniffer last time? You were laughing. I always try to bring up these weird facts.
Still laughing about that.
Yeah, I told some other people about that, and they actually had heard about it, and we were both we were all laughing. Actually, it was in a dispensary. I said, this is a real thing? They said, yeah. Just like the birds aren't real. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. Have you ever heard of that? The birds aren't real?
Nah.
It's a movement? Yeah. Their birds are not real. Well, at least some of them, maybe. It's a thing that they started years ago on the internet where the birds are not real. The birds are robots, and the government, that's how they're watching us, you see. And whenever they fly down south, they're actually flying back to get repaired, or new ones are coming out. They got this whole thing, and then they got shirts and everything. And it makes you think, maybe some of them, really, right? How would you know if the government didn't have fake birds, right? That are like in the trees, right, and stuff? But that's crazy, the birds aren't real. But anyway, the weed sniffer, yeah, I talked about that. So my new weird thing is, there's a thing called demon face syndrome, okay? And this is where somebody is fine their whole life, and then they wake up, and when they look at people look like monsters and stuff, like everybody they see. It's a real condition too. Imagine that. Oh God, I'm blind now, but oh my God, I wouldn't want that. Imagine that you just wake up and every time you look at somebody, they're hideous monsters, like their faces are. It's a real thing called demon face syndrome. So I just heard about that. An interesting fact from the Sullivan Project podcast, right? But yeah, back to so I met John Carpenter too. I told you a little bit about that. Now listen to this. Who would you think would be older, John Carpenter, Ernie Hudson?
John Carpenter.
See, it's almost you'd think it's a trick question, but guess what? Ernie Hudson's older. Ernie Hudson's 78 years old. I couldn't believe it.
Really?
He's that old, but you know what? He looks half his age. I couldn't see it, but my sister said he's like 40. So he could still play and you could tell in the movies he can still play he's playing a 40, 50-year-old man. He's 78, and John Carpenter is 76 years old. John Carpenter is like 100 years old. Seriously. He's like naughty. It's sad, but it's not sad because he's probably been through a lot. They've both been through a lot. He's just aged differently, and I know he smoked a lot. I don't know if Ernie Hudson's ever smoked, but I didn't get to hold John Carpenter's hand, but I did hold Ernie Hudson's. But John Carpenter, yeah, I asked him a couple questions. He said I asked him about the new Halloween coming up, right? And he said he didn't want to tell me that. He just said tune in. And then I said, well, what do you got anything else coming out? I said, what are your plans for the future? And he said, I'm around. And that's he was real short, you know what I mean, with everything. But he was there. God bless him. He just wanted that money, hundreds of dollars. I think he was at least probably $120 for an autograph for John Carpenter. But John Carpenter, and then Ernie Hudson, like I said, both Sting was cool. Booker T, the wrestler. You ever heard of Booker T?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him too. He was just awesome. Christian just sat there and he was like on the phone, didn't even care, didn't want to pay attention. Somebody I didn't tell you about. Do you know who? Is it Juliette Lewis?
Yeah, remember her.
Okay, you remember where she's from?
Christmas Vacation.
Little trivia for you. Oh, was she in that too? With Chevy?
Yeah, she was in that.
With Chevy Chase?
Yeah.
She was a little young girl. Well, she's always looked young. She still does. Is it the same one I'm thinking of? The one from Dusk Till Dawn, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. See, that's another movie I didn't know she was in.
Yeah, she was in that. Yeah, with Chevy Chase. Yeah.
Natural Born Killers, right?
She was in that.
And then Strange Days. That's that real one, trippy one with. Was it Ralph Fiennes? Is that the guy's name? I used to get him confused with Liam Neeson. He kind of looks like him a little bit. It was in the future. It was just weird. People were tripping out. And then they had, I remember it was Bob Marley. Every little thing gonna be alright. They kept playing that. And it was, but yeah, she was there too, and she was awesome. She was real. She still looks real young. My sister says she's always got that little girl. You know how she always looked young. And I talked to her for a minute. I asked her about From Dusk Till Dawn. I said, "Did you ever get asked to come back after the first one?" You know what I mean? I said, "Because that was classic. You know who was in that? Jesus, George Clooney, Harvey Keitel, uh, her, Danny Trejo, right?
Yeah, Danny Trejo was in that.
Tom Savini?
Yeah.
Tom Savini. Who else am I forgetting? Shit. Tarantino. Little pervert.
Tarantino.
That
Yeah.
perverted guy. Was he really saying that stuff, or was he imagining it? You know what I mean? And I believe that's how he is in real life. He might not be he might not be child, pervy like he was in that movie, but I believe he's like a kind of a-hole, like he would just say whatever, you know what I mean? Tarantino, but yeah, that was Tarantino in that movie. And they actually did a TV show, and they did like three sequels, right? And Netflix did a TV show. I caught the first season of it. It was From Dusk Till Dawn, and the guy playing George Clooney's character was pretty good. His name was DJ Catrona or something. He was in shows in the past, but in the TV show at the end, uh, his brother Seth didn't die. So they continued on, the brothers, in the second season, but I didn't continue it on. This was years ago, for anybody who wants to check that out. But yeah, it's a TV show. The first season was basically the first movie, and they just broke it up into episodes, and they kind of add a little bit more into it, the brothers. But it was pretty good. But yeah, she said she didn't even know that there was a sequel. How did she not know there was a From Dusk Till Dawn sequel? And they never called her to ask her to be in another one. And I said, well, that would have been the next step right after From Dusk Till Dawn. She was the only one left except for George Clooney's character. I can't remember his name. So they could have picked up with her, you know what I mean? Because I actually did a little short fan film years ago, an animated film, and I had it picking up with her, hunting vampires like starting a vampire. Because what would she do after that? You know what I mean? She's left alone, and she's an orphan now after part one, and she knows vampires exist. So she could be kicking butt in a whole sequel or a comic book. You know what I mean? So I did a little. It was called Evil Dead From Dusk Till Dawn, and it was a crossover, right? And it was a little animated thing I did, like with the Sims people on the computer, and it was in the bar, and it was Ash comes into a bar, and the girl from Dusk Till Dawn is in there, and she actually has this book. It's the Book of the Dead, of course, but she's found it, and Ash comes in, and somebody reads from the book. Everybody in there gets turned into a vampire. It's like a whole bunch of mess going on, but it's like you can imagine Evil Dead From Dusk Till Dawn mixed together, put in the bar. In the meantime, I had a character like Danny Trejo behind the bar, and every time you looked at him, all he was doing was just washing the glasses and wiping down the counter, and all the other people were getting killed around him, and all the stuff's going on, and then you come back to him, and he's just he don't say anything. It was just something I thought was cool to put in this little animated film I did years ago. But Ash was in the bar, and then that girl, and of course he's trying to put the moves on her. You know what I mean? What was her name? Do you remember? Juliette Lewis's character?
I don't know.
I
don't remember.
But yeah, it was ideas. I had tons of ideas. Still do. But somebody else comes up with them too. You know what I mean? Well, none of these actually. They never come up with the sequels for the movies we want, like Friday the 13th. Go back and do it. Tommy Jarvis coming back, or I don't know. I did a sequel where I did a Freddy versus Michael Myers. I wrote a script. I actually wrote a script for it years ago, where Dr. Loomis moved into Haddonfield with Jamie Lloyd's child, you know, picking up from part 6. And then, of course, Freddy's there, and that's how they meet, and Michael and Freddy end up. So, I mean, yeah. But, hey, Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, face syndrome. Second, Marley movies after projection remote viewing. Who is this Juliette Lewis? Third,
Hey, Google, stop. Okay, so what's up with the Penguins now? I fell asleep last night. Did we lose?
Yeah, they lost 5-4.
Are we out of the playoffs?
Yeah, they're out.
See.
Yeah.
I didn't want to predict that, but I did say when they were like 20 points out, that was done. But then we went on like a 7-0-3 run, and they almost got me. I just had a feeling that we're just there, but just not.
Yeah, they're out.
But we're usually always in the play. I mean, damn, we made the playoffs every year. Like, this has to be the first time in a long time, right?
Second year in a row they didn't make the playoffs.
Last year either, too. See,
yeah.
They got to get rid of that coach. That's it. I've been saying it for like 10 years. They got to do it now. Same with the Steelers. I've been saying that for a while, but I never really did agree with Tomlin coming in there. You know what I mean? But that's a whole other thing. I thought he won with Bill Cowher's team, right? And then Tomlin has just been in there since then. But that's football season when that comes around, everybody. And I tried to check out that new Bob Marley movie, yeah, but it just was boring. It's on demand right now. The music is good, but there's a lot of scenes where there's no dialogue, and so I can't understand being blind what's going on. In case y'all haven't tuned in before, I lost my sight almost 3 years ago. And yeah, it's either music or nothing, and it's just and you know what? The ratings for the critics are only like 50%, and the audience is 90%. And I usually agree about more with the audience, but with this one, I'm more with the critics. For some reason, it's just missing something. You know what I mean? The Elvis movies was good. The new Elvis movie that came out last year or the year before. And then there's a trailer for the Planet of the Apes out now. The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Did you see it yet?
No.
They finally came out with it. It sounds really good though. And then what else? The Fall Guy. I think they're turning into a comedy. Remember that show? That was pretty good back in like the 80s. And then what else is there? Fly Me to the Moon. And it sounded good, but then I found out it's a comedy romance, and it has Channing Tatum and what's the girl that played Black Widow? Oh crap! From the Marvel movies, Scarlett Johansson. But it's about the moon landing being faked. You know how everybody, and I believe it was too, but you know how they've been saying since the Earth, since the humans, America landed on the moon, U.S., they said it was fake. And they've been saying it ever since then. And so this is a movie about the moon landing being faked. But it's a comedy somehow. But it sounded good, so I don't know. It's a new movie. I believe it was too, you know what I mean? It seemed too fake, like they just shot that somewhere and said they were on the moon the first time. I don't know about after that, but in the 60s, whenever they said they were on the moon, I don't believe that first one was real. I think they shot that in a movie studio somewhere. So lots of people think that, right? Have you ever seen that footage or heard it back in the day, like when you were young or anything?
No, I didn't.
No, because they played it for us in school. I don't know. I listened
No, I
to it.
did not.
And yeah, it didn't sound real, dude. And then they show, well, you see them hopping around on the moon, right? It don't look real either, does it?
Not really.
It looks like they got I mean, at some points they said they could even see the strings attached, but it just looks like they're slow motion. You know what I mean? Playing it back slow. But there's tricks you can do because I used to make movies and fan films. I know how you can do these little tricks. In 1960s, it wouldn't have been hard to do. You know what I mean? Plus, there was too much light there for them to be on the moon when there's supposedly no light, right? You didn't have a problem seeing anything, did you?
I didn't.
How did they light the moon if there's no light on the moon? Did they set up lights out there? Right? There's a lot of things that don't make sense about it. But that's another thing too, conspiracy. Did you ever see that movie Conspiracy Theory with Mel Gibson?
No, I did not.
Julia Roberts. Patrick Stewart is the guy from Star Trek. He's like the guy that captures him. Mel Gibson plays this crazy guy who always talks about everything being a conspiracy. And Julia Roberts is a newspaper lady, and he goes in there all the time trying to get her to report a story. You know, he's always saying aliens are coming and this and that. And then he disappears and she worries about what's happened to him, and then she goes and tries to find him. And here he actually was taken by the government and stuff, and then they threw him back out after they tortured the heck out of him because they keep him alive. I don't know why they keep him alive. I guess for misinformation too. You know what I mean? Because they give him a lot of stuff that ain't true, but then he knows stuff that is true. Hey Google, turn the heater off. Every time I'm recording a podcast, the heater comes on. But yeah, so it's one of them things. But anyway, Julia Roberts falls in love with Mel Gibson and tries to help the guy, and it's called conspiracy theory. But he lives in this apartment, right? It's above all these other in this building, and there's like 20 locks inside of it. And once you get in there, there's a hall and all this. And he got it set up that if they come in to get after him, he can hit this switch and the whole place lights up on fire and it burns all the stuff he has in there, and all that, like pictures, and like he has all this stuff on the walls. It's freaky how he has all this stuff rigged up so they can't get his evidence and do stuff. It's called conspiracy theory. But so the Penguins didn't make it. Jesus.
No.
What,
No, 2 years in a row.
Crosby had almost 100 points though.
Yeah.
Close to it. Did Malcolm get his 500th goal? You know, because he was like 1 or 2 away. He was close.
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
And Ovechkin, he'll have to get his, he'll have to break Gretzky's record next season, which, like I said, they haven't been saying anything about it. He's like 20-something away. So, who else here? I could talk about the Comic Con. That was pretty much it. Yeah, you remember Juliette Lewis. I mean, she was cool. And then, hey, Google, what did I want you to remember?
Here's what you told me. First, face syndrome. Second, Marley movies after projection remote viewing. Who is this Juliette Lewis? Third,
Okay.
teacher tie me up play figures. Kobe Corona laughing song.
Yeah, I'm working on some songs here. I don't know if I said that on the podcast before, but one of the last couple things I saw, yeah, might as well say it before we end up here. What do we like to say here? You can't judge a book by its cover. Everyone has a story, right? Everyone has a story, and love's a choice and so is the hate. And what do you have? You have anything you want to get off? You want to say? Because it's a platform for everybody, Chris. You have anything you want to say about anything that we've ever talked about, or just get a message to anybody? Want to pray for somebody? I don't know, whatever. Say something if you want.
Nothing off the top of my head.
We love everybody, that's all, right?
Yeah.
That's our messages we're getting out here, because life is too short. We got to get back into doing some gospel. Even if we're not reading from the Bible, we got to just start spreading some more just good messages here, instead of, because I've been having a lot of negative things happen lately, and you've been a little sick, and we got to get the light going here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What the heck was I about to say now? Jesus, I forgot. Oh, about one of the last few things I saw that I remember seeing when I had my sight, okay? I don't remember what year Kobe died. Do you remember Kobe Bryant, right? The basketball player. I remember on the bottom line seeing that he was in a car, or in a helicopter crash on ESPN, because I used to always have ESPN on when I wasn't really paying attention to TV, but I could look over and I could see the news at the bottom, and then I could hear what was going on. And so, yeah, I remember Kobe, and I was like, oh, Kobe's going to be okay. You know, because it was a car crash. It said it was an accident, but they didn't say he was dead right away. And then after that, I remember the Corona, the thing at the bottom saying, Corona, this and this and that. And I'm like, wait a minute, the beer? What does that mean? Because they were calling COVID, it wasn't COVID-19, it was Corona at the time. And then it's still called both. And then I didn't think it was going to be nowhere near this. I just thought, oh, it's a little thingy. I mean, because we never had this in our lifetime. Do you ever remember something that bad happening? Nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the same thing happened back in 1919. The same thing happened. They called it the Japan flu. Okay, so it was 100 years later. That's a little bit more of a coincidence, I'd say, that they released it again, because I believe that's what happened. It's like Resident Evil. Somebody in Japan released a Corona, and it got loose over there, and then it came here, and that's how we all got sick, because they got better first, right away. You know, you don't release a disease unless you got the cure. So they already had the cure, and then they got this, but the world's never going to be the same, because all the people wearing the masks, first of all, their breathing it's going to affect their breathing, right? And then all the people taking the medicines, and then all the stuff they're putting into medicines, then there's tracking devices, there's all kinds of other things that people think that they're putting into stuff. And they're putting stuff into medicine that you're going to get sick from years down the road, but you won't even know because this is the way that it works on this planet, the prison planet. So that was a perfect thing. Hey, we want to make more people sick, so we will control people more, and we get more money by, you know what I mean? It's all propaganda. So let's create a diversion of, and something else was going on too at the same time the corona. I don't know, but something else was because we were all looking at corona. But then in the meantime, like I said, they're putting stuff in there that we're putting in our bodies. Or, oh, I didn't do it. I ain't doing that. I didn't do any of it. And I only wore a mask a few times. And I'm not saying that being proud, but I couldn't breathe wearing it, first of all. And I didn't think it was going to even do any good. So why do it? And then they've even come out and said that the mask didn't do anything. So people were just wearing them. But yeah, we're going to go. And we'll be back, same bad times, same bad channel.
Yeah, good luck, everybody.